Alrighty, people. Question for you guys. What is worse than having one Finalmouse Starlight-12 with quality control issues? Having two Starlight-12 with quality control issues? Alright, I'm only half kidding about the quality control issues. I think I might be one of the luckier ones to actually pick up two of these without that many issues to begin with. Now, I've had both my final mice now for about 2 to 3 weeks, and overall they've been pretty okay mice. I think for me, I have nothing but a love-hate relationship with these mice. Overall, I think, I might be one of the only losers out here to scalp two of these, just out of curiosity. But I think for a lot of people, I might be able to help answer that question, whether or not these mice are actually worth the resale value. I think a lot of us are going to know the answer, but I wanted to talk to you guys about my experience with them and just cover some of my thoughts on it. I know there are a lot of reviews out there already that go really in depth with the technical aspects of this mouse. I'm not going to do that. I think there are a lot of great reviews out there already, so let's get into it. So let's just start first with the very basic size comparison. I think for me, spending some time with the small and actually seeing a bunch of reviews come out for the medium, it got me intrigued about the sizing differences. And ultimately for me, I decided that a medium was actually the best fit because there are parts of the small that just felt too small. Granted, the small actually is the exact same size as the Ultralight 2 Cape Town, which I originally had, but in some aspects, I thought the Cape Town was a little too small as well. So I ended up picking up the medium. So again, the white Starlight is a medium and the black Starlight is a small. Here is the mice next to an Orochi V2, next to a Viper Mini, next to an XM1R. And let's just throw in the Vaxi outset here, just for giggles. But let me show you what I mean about the Starlight-12 small being a little too small. So for me, I had originally thought I was more fingertip grip, but I do use part of my palm here to rest just the back of the mouse. To me, it's a little bit more comfortable, and I think it offers a little bit more control. So for me, I would grip my mouse like this. If you take the mouse away, it kind of like cramps up the fingers. Just how small the Starlight-12 small is, right? So in a lot of cases, the vertical axis where the y-axis is, it just feels a little bit unhinged, a little bit not as controlled, like up and down, right? Just because it doesn't have that end of the mouse touching my palm, it just felt a little too small and kind of awkward. Again, I had originally had the Ultralight 2, which I loved, but again, that was my first lightweight mouse, which I think I loved more about that mouse. The size though kind of bugged me for a little bit, and I think it was a little bit more apparent when you pick up a small and a medium, just how small this Starlight-12 small is and just how small the Ultralight 2 shape is. You give up a little bit of that control moving into a small shape like this, but you gain a hell of a lot of speed. This thing is fast, right? Like, I think when you're on a small, you might have to dial back your sensitivity a little bit, just given how small and light this thing is. So I think this was about 40-ish grams, 41 grams, and it certainly feels super light, right? So that's not to say the medium isn't light either. What's great about the medium is it has that backing, right, that touches the palm and rests comfortably in there. So you know, while you're doing your up and downs, this actually might just feel a little bit more controlled. And it's light. It's true, like this thing, the medium I think is about 44, 47-ish grams. Yeah, they're light and they feel great, right? So ultimately, I prefer the medium, just how it feels in the hand. It's a little bit more satisfying to hold. Granted, I don't necessarily have big hands. I have 19 by 10, so medium's the way to go if you're thinking about it. I was second guessing the small for a little bit, but I am really glad I went with the medium on this one. So, but let's talk about some of the great things about this mouse first. For me, the lightweight nature of these mice is just crazy. The fact too that it's wireless, that blows my mind. I mentioned it in my initial video that Finalmouse, they're really great at introducing these ideas to us. I think for the Starlight-12 now, the main selling feature is the weight, and then the fact that it's wireless. Yeah, the Ultralight 2 gave me a whole new appreciation for ultralight mice. Now with the Starlight-12, it's given me a whole new appreciation for wireless mice. This magnesium shell has been so sturdy, super sturdy, and it feels strong. I think that's one of the main advantages of magnesium for sure, is that it's sturdy. Definitely feels like it. Definitely feels like it. You could really feel it. Really good stock mouse. I think if you're lucky enough to get one without quality control issues, stock, there's not a whole lot that you need to do to it. Overall, this thing is really trying to raise that benchmark for a good mouse. Those are some of my favorite things about the Starlight-12. Now, you can't forget, I also mentioned I have a love-hate relationship with this mouse, and this mouse is not without its flaws. For one, I think the stock clicks are just so weird. Here are the stock clicks. It's crisp, but it feels a little mushy. I can't describe it. For me, not my favorite clicks for sure. I actually ended up putting Japanese Omrons into these ones, which is a little bit more responsive and a little bit faster, I think. Another thing that I really dislike is the bottom shell here. It just feels so delicate and super cheap. Something about this bottom shell just feels like they cheaped out on, right? Like you got a magnesium shell everywhere else, just this bottom part, it feels like it could snap at any moment. I don't really want to put too much, pressure on this and have it give out. And then the scroll wheel, you talk about a quality control issue. Look at this scroll wheel. Check out this scroll wheel. Look how it leans so far to my right click. I can't believe this. That's just so annoying. Occasionally, after you're playing for a little bit, it actually just leans so far to the right here. Occasionally, you'll actually feel it scratching. You'll actually feel this scroll wheel scratching this right click. Come on. This bugs the hell out of me. I understand Nacho Customs just put out a new video where you can actually fix that by shrink wrapping this, but like I mentioned, this bottom shell is so delicate. I feel a little uncomfortable trying to dismantle this again, having to correct this scroll wheel. This is just crazy. To think that each of these mice are serial numbered. These are exclusive mice, one of one. And this scroll wheel is just such a commonplace thing. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. This is a common thing. If you go through some of the images of people's Finalmouse, you'll actually see this. It just leans too far to the right. This is a joke. Kind of expect these to be caught on the production line pretty early on. It just feels like Finalmouse actually pushed these out so quickly, super rushed. Part of me feels like it was a huge money grab, but part of me feels like they were really trying to go for a mouse that was going to push the envelope. Liftoff distance, haven't really experienced any problems with the liftoff distance as well. I do play it at a little bit higher sensitivity, so I'm not frequently lifting my mouse off the mouse pad or anything like that. Overall, in spite of all of this, in spite of the scroll wheel being off, and in spite of the cheap bottom shell, this is actually my main mouse now. I think these are such great mice. It just feels like an abusive relationship I'm in with Finalmouse, right? Like the weight, the wirelessness. I really didn't appreciate wireless until I picked up these mice, and now I just can't go back. I pick up a wired mouse, I feel so tethered by the wire. I can't go back. I have a lightweight wireless mouse now, and I actually haven't had to charge this once in the 2 to 3 weeks I've had it. This thing stays charged, right? And it works well. There's just parts of me that feel like over time this thing is really gonna fall apart. I wish there wasn't this huge oversight in quality control. I really think Finalmouse actually raised the benchmark for great mice, and the bar is so low. I think any mouse manufacturer right now can just come out with a great mouse to compete with this, and this wouldn't be my main mouse any longer. It's funny to me that there are people giving up this Finalmouse for an Orochi. So I'm going to be spending some time with this Orochi as well, just giving it a try. But for me, this is it, and I just feel a little bit cheated getting a mouse of this quality. It is what it is. This quality control issue, overall, I just can't get enough of this mouse. I guess I just love to hurt, right? So yeah, those are my thoughts and my disappointment with the Starlight-12 here. Ultimately, it's sort of a reluctant main. I love it, I hate it. There's just so much potential that should have gone into this mouse. And so much of that potential was squandered. So hopefully I catch you guys in the neighborhood again. Spend some time geeking out more often, but I'll leave you guys with that for now. Hello.